Hello, everybody. My name is Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show, and you guys love or going to love uh, Chef Kenneth, who is our special guest today. Not only did he work in so many different places and in so many different industry, he's also a master of operational excellence. He is a great team leader. He knows how to grow a brand, and he's an amazing human being. With that, I want to say welcome to Chef Kenneth Scharlatt. How you doing today?
Thank you, Chef. I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
So I'm really excited about this conversation. And truth be told, I kind of probed him first a little bit. Hey, what can I ask you? What can I not ask you? And he said, don't ask anything. No, he didn't. From what I did the 15 years before. But I love his background. So with that, Chef Kenneth, if you wouldn't mind, tell our audience a little bit. Hey, how do you wind up in the culinary world, and what inspired you to pursue this career?
Absolutely. So I am. I had a background, a really good customer service background,
Hmm.
prior to getting into the hospitality industry. I've been, in the entertainment business as an owner of a mobile entertainment business for about 10 years. I was in technical support for IT, so working and talking to people, and just doing the bedside manner, right? And having that the right way to talk and treat people.
Yep.
That's really what I focus on, and I've been instilled with that since I was a little kid growing up by my parents.
Hmm.
I had a friend that was opening a restaurant and a bar that he came up to me and he said, I need a little bit of help with training our team on the art of customer service."
Hmm.
Um, and I said, absolutely. And that was my first real dive into, the restaurant and hospitality industry.
Hmm.
And that was back in 2008. And I've been in ever since.
I love your background, by the way. So, because I honestly believe more people need to have a different background coming into the industry, owning your own company. Hey, being in customer service, which, by the way, this is a customer service business. So for me, all of that, I absolutely love that. So, how did you wind up in the facility you are today?
So I am currently acting more on along the lines of a consultant
Hmm.
within the hospitality industry, specifically focusing on hotel food and beverage.
Yep.
I have my hospitality industry does stem from independent restaurants and
Yep.
bars and things of that nature. So I bring that mindset um, into the hotel side, and I try to transition the mindset for our hotel food and beverage partners, where we don't want to just be another hotel restaurant
Yes.
that's
Yes.
dull and boring
Hmm.
and has no inspiration. We want to start becoming a community hub where it's lively. People want to go, not just our internal hotel guests, but also the local community. So we're
Love
trying
that.
to
I
trying
love
to
that.
bring the locals into it. We want it to feel more of a restaurant that just happens to be in a hotel compared to a hotel restaurant.
By the way, mic drop, conversation over, because I love everything you said, and I stay in a lot of hotels. In my career, I usually traveled up between 100 and 140 days a year, and spend a lot of time in hotels. And for me, there was days I didn't want to go into a car to go eat somewhere else, and some most of the time I was by myself, so I just ordered room service and I ate back in my room. And for me, th- what I didn't like about this is the things you just talked about. That, hey, we just a restaurant, we do this, we do this. What you just explained, that's what I wanted to see. And so talk to us a little bit. I mean, that's not, first of all, it's not an easy thing to do this,
No,
because you're trying to switch your whole industry.
correct.
You said you support Hilton today. So talk to me a little bit about how do you get people onto seeing what you see, and how do you do that? Because this is not an easy task.
The great thing is most hotel properties are franchise properties, so
Correct. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
owned and operated and managed by not Hilton but a third party.
Hmm.
A lot of the good thing is the hotel chains themselves, the Hiltons, the Marriotts, the IHGs, the Hyatts, whatever it may be, as long as you're meeting the minimum of their standard, they're okay with management companies going above and beyond.
Hmm.
For the longest time, they wanted making sure that if you are brand loyal to Marriott, every Marriott that you went into, you knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And for, 30, 40 years, that's the way that the traveler really wanted to travel,
Hmm.
especially on the business side. Now, with the way that people are traveling, whether it be business travelers or whether it be tourism and vacation travelers, everybody now wants the experience. They
Yeah.
want the local flair. So now the good thing is management companies are saying, as long as we're meeting the standard that the brand requires, we're okay going above and beyond. And
Hmm.
they're starting to be willing to make that financial commitment. Now, obviously, they're not going all in right off the bat. They're doing it little baby steps at a time. But they're doing, independent branding for their restaurants. They're doing independent marketing. They're doing, not your generic hotel menu. They're utilizing local sourcing and sustainability
Hmm.
practices. So that it's starting to make a progression forward. While I'm trying to quote unquote change the industry, when I talk to people within the industry, with that are leading properties and leading food and beverage departments, they have this same mindset. A lot of times they just don't know how to go about doing it because they've been career hotel people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have the independent restaurateurs mindset. So that's really what I try to bring to it is, let's do some different marketing things. Let's do some, unique things and open it up to the local clientele. On nights where you may not have a lot of business in the hotel,
Yeah.
let's do some networking events or something like that. Let's host some different, local groups. This way, locals start getting used to coming in too. And now we become a community hub where both locals and hotel guests are coming together to enjoy the local experience.
I love that. And again, you make this sound so simple because this is not an easy job.
Right.
So where did that idea, or where did that mindset come from? Because you think different than so many other chefs, especially in the hotel industry. So talk to us a little bit. Where did that idea come from? That, hey, I need to look at a hotel differently. Hey, why don't I bring in local? Why don't I bring in local businesses when it's slow in here? I love all of that. So talk to me. Where did this come from?
I wish I could take the responsibility for it. I'm not that smart. But I've seen it. I'm like you. I'm on the road quite a bit throughout the year,
Hmm.
um, and I've been starting to stay more, if possible, in independent and boutique style properties.
Yep.
They have the mindset because they're not tied to a
Hmm.
brand flag or anything like that. They can do some unique and just think outside of the box kind of things.
Yep.
And the more I started to go to those kind of properties and stay at those kind of properties, um, it came to me like, why can't we bring this into a branded property?
Hmm.
So yeah, I have great mentors in this industry that are have taken me under their wing and have had this mindset for a lot longer than I have. Um, and we've collaborated on quite a lot of things in regards to ideas and systemic approaches and changing things. And um, the more that, and I think the more that the way that the traveler is, and people are wanting that experiential kind of atmosphere now, I think that's dictating it more than anything else. Because, you know, hotel companies are seeing and getting feedback from their guests that their food and beverage operation isn't meeting up to the standards that, of what they want. And
Mhm.
when they fill in the comment section, a lot of people are saying that, they want the experiential. They don't want to have to go out. They want a place that has a cool vibe, that feels welcoming and not so cold and not so boring. And they want that, if possible, inside the four walls of the hotel.
Yeah.
So we're starting to try to bring that out more and more now.
I love that. And listen, I'm one of those travelers because if I travel all the time, I don't want to get in a car to go somewhere and get something to eat. I want to have this here. And so when you work with clients, and where should anybody start? Because there might be, we have 100,000 listeners here. So there might be 20,000 of them said, I love what Chef Kenneth just said. I want to do this too. So where do you start?
It depends on where you currently are.
Yep.
So if you have a restaurant that has an exterior entrance and it's not being utilized, and we can start bringing in some
Mhm.
local resources. The big thing for me is on the marketing side, there's two things that you really want to focus on. You want to have your restaurant wants to have its own web presence, so its own
Yeah.
website, as well as its own social media presence. So it can't be just the hotel's social media and the hotel's website that is trying to get people to focus on the restaurant. It's
Yep.
never going to happen that way. It's
Yep.
going to get buried deep down under
Correct.
rooms,
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and everything like that. So the restaurant needs to have its own distinct social media page and website.
Mhm.
The other thing that I feel is really important is most hotels have what's called a captive Wi-Fi system.
Mhm.
Whereas when you go in, you have to be staying at the property in order to access the Wi-Fi.
Yep.
You have to put your last name and your room number, or whatever the situation may be. One thing that we really try to do is, if you're not staying at that property
I don't
and you
have
want to
access
use
to Wi-Fi. Yeah.
correct. So now there are services out there that offer captive Wi-Fi at a very, very affordable rate. And what that does is you can utilize that now and their information. So when they log in, you can get their name, their email address, their phone number, and you ask for their zip code.
Mhm.
Because with asking for their zip code, you're now distinguishing if it's a local client, a local guest that lives within your area, or if it's a hotel visiting guest
Yep.
that is outside of your area. And now you're setting up two completely separate
Love,
marketing.
love that. I love that. So
So
I listen. You say I'm sold. I want to stay at one of your places. So because I think this. So speaking as somebody who travels 140 days a year, um, going to a hotel and going to Wi-Fi, for me, Wi-Fi is number one because I travel with my iPad like you. I bring my iPad everywhere, and if my iPad doesn't connect, I don't go anymore. I have this little thing
right,
on restaurants to avoid. So I love the idea because for me, so rather than that, and if I go there, I don't bring anything. They will never know that I was there.
correct,
And you could never market towards me because I never give you any of my stuff. And I
correct.
love that. So for me, by the way, I have some notes here ready. So for me is I love the idea of the captive Wi-Fi and have that be separate and have it be its own thing. I think it's a great idea. It's absolutely a great idea.
And again, it's utilizing the mindset of an independent restaurateur.
Mhm.
They're doing these things. They offer Wi-Fi in their restaurants, and they're already offering and utilizing a captive Wi-Fi system. Why can't we implement that into our spaces in the hotel world? Because if you're only utilizing the hotel Wi-Fi, you're missing out on a huge target demographic of local clientele, or
Mhm.
even people that are coming to your restaurant. They may be staying in a different hotel or at an Airbnb or something like that, but they're specifically coming to your restaurant. Now you can utilize that.
I absolutely, I can't even tell you how much I love this. So, and for me, this is so important. So, there's two things you said, and um, the whole independence, make it feel differently. It has its own marketing, make it feel differently.
Correct.
So, where do you draw the line on telling a client, hey, you're not really good at this. You're good in the hotel side. Why don't you take the restaurant and lease it out to somebody else? Or do you go to them and say, hey, I can teach you and the staff running that restaurant to make it feel like an independent thing? Because for me, I love to go to a hotel which has an independent restaurant. I don't want it to be a hotel restaurant. And I just being 100% transparent, because a independent restaurant is better. And there's 90% of the travelers will say the same thing to you. So how do you have that conversation? And where do you draw the line saying, hey, you're not really good as a restaurateur. Maybe you need to franchise it out, or you teach him to do it in-house.
So that all depends on me getting to know the client.
Mm-hmm.
And between working with them throughout the project, whatever the project may call for. If I see that they're afraid of change, everybody's afraid of change. But if we can start getting them excited about where we're going and seeing it in a different capacity, because they're
Mm-hmm.
coming from a hotelier's mindset. A lot of these hotel food and beverage directors and hotel GMs, they are career people, and
Mm-hmm.
they know the way that it's been done for 30, 40 plus years. And the industry is changing. Even on the room side of the hotel business
Yeah.
and everything like that, things are changing throughout the entire industry. I think one thing that we can do is, I think, on top of your hotel GM and your director of food and beverage, I think one of the best things that you can do for each of your outlets is to hire a restaurant focused general manager, somebody that does not come from the hotel side,
Mm-hmm.
but comes from the restaurant side.
Yep.
And for each of your restaurant outlets, have a restaurant manager, GM, someone that comes from that side of the industry as compared to the hotel side, because they're going to
Mm-hmm.
have that vision and that mindset. Um, a lot of times, the good thing is they're calling me to come and help with them with these projects because they do want to make the change.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take a lot of twisting arms or anything like that, but a lot of it is when you get there. It's tough to the saying, it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks. Um, but maybe just giving them some other ways of looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes that can be difficult, sometimes not. But a lot of times, once they start seeing the success and the
Mm-hmm.
benefits of the way that you're showing them things, they start picking it up a little bit more and more.
I think that's hard for a lot of restaurateurs, because you think so different than any of them. So help us understand a little bit. How do you balance a strong culinary tradition, which needs to be, while incorporating modern trends? And for me, what you talking about, and it's not just modern trends, there's modern trends and flavors. So talk to us a little bit. Where do you find the right people, and how do you bring people to, hey, moving away for those a restaurant which is based on tradition, because a hotel by just design is based on traditions. So help us understand a little bit, how do you maintain a strong culinary tradition while incorporating some of the new flavors?
There is a line of up and coming chefs and culinary people and even restaurant managers and things of that. Like, there's a plethora of hungry people, young people that are coming
Mhm.
up through our industry. And like a lot of, people in that age demographic, they want to make a difference.
Yeah.
The big
Yeah.
thing is no idea can go overlooked. I have the mentality of, when I'm in an operation, I have obviously our daily pre-shift meetings. I have a full team monthly meeting.
Hmm.
And then once a month, I have a 15 to 20-minute one-on-one sit down with every single person on the team, from frontline host, server, bartender, busser, dishwasher, cook, prep cook, whatever the position may be. We have a one-on-one meeting at least once a month, depending on how large the team is.
Hmm.
I want that time to be for me to listen.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my time to listen. So if they have ideas, questions, comments, concerns, feedback, criticism, whatever they want to bring to the table, that's their time that they have my ear. I mean, and they could
Hmm.
talk to me no matter when, but that's the time that they know every month they get that 15, 20, sometimes longer time with me, where we can come down and sit down and hash out some, what
Hmm.
has to be, discussed. I love people that come to me with hungry ideas and things like that. They're the front lines. They're the ones that are out there talking directly with the guests day in and day out. They're experiencing the challenges day in and day out. So, you know, I want to listen to them. The other big thing that we do is I try to instill a leadership council of team members that have been there for a while, whether it be a lead bartender, a lead server. We establish a leadership council, and because those are the people that are going to be next in line for those kind of positions,
Yep.
whether it be an assistant manager, bar manager, culinary manager, whatever it may be. So trying to develop them at the same time. So as long as they feel supported, they know that they're being heard, and that's going to just make them hungrier. Same thing with the frontline team members. As long as they feel heard, I don't want people to feel like they're just here to collect a paycheck.
I love that.
I want
I love that.
I want them to feel like they're valued,
Hmm.
and that they have a voice, and their ideas don't get overlooked. If they come to me with an idea and it makes sense financially, it makes sense for the guest experience, and it makes sense for the team morale experience.
Hmm.
If I don't look at it where it can help benefit us, what good am I? As a lead in a leadership role, I'm not doing any good for my team. It's just going to turn them off, and they're just going to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
there to go through the motions.
Yeah.
That's not what we want in our industry.
Love that. I absolutely love that. So, talk to me. Where did that ideology come from? Because you don't sound like traditional chef. So, number one, by the way, I have five notes here already. But meeting with your team on a monthly basis, even the bartenders on the front of the house, like they're not your responsibility. But meeting with them, I absolutely love that. So, help us understand what shaped you, or what were some of the experiences you had to make you think the way you do, because you don't sound like a traditional chef.
The big thing for me is I'm very people focused.
Hmm.
I like having discussions and, getting to know my team members,
Yeah.
regardless whether they report directly to me or they report directly to another manager. If we're all working in the same environment, I need to have a sense of, a little bit about that.
Hmm.
When I go to build a team, I want to make sure that we're putting, if I'm hiring or something like that, I want to make sure that the people that we bring on are going to gel and mesh with the team that we already have in place.
Hmm.
Because if we bring in somebody that's going to be a bad egg, it does nothing but cause, issues on the back end and things of that nature. If
Yeah.
we have a solid team already in place, but we're just short a set of hands and we need to hire a set of hands, I want to make sure that the people that we're bringing in have the mentality that,
Hmm.
hey, we're team first. This is the mentality of our, the people that we have. They're a very tight knit group of people, so forth and so on. So we want to make sure that everybody gels. The big thing for me is being in a leadership role, it's very much a game of psychology. I have to know the ins and outs of every person because for me to motivate that individual person to get the best out of them is going to be different than if how I motivate somebody else on the team.
Hmm.
And in order for me to get the best out of everybody, to get to make sure that the gel that the gears always line up and that there's no kind of kinks or anything in the system,
Yeah.
I need to know how to work with everybody. And everybody's personality is different. So I think it's just the it's been instilled in me, since I was young by my parents that when you work with people, you get to know those people, especially if you're leading those people,
Hmm.
because you need to know how to talk to them, how to motivate them, and how to really get the best out of them for the betterment of not only the company but themselves.
Love that. I love that. And it's so true. And sometimes a lot of chefs forget that this is not just a service industry. For me, it's an extension of who you are.
Yeah.
And you said it twice just now. Hey, this is something you were instilled by your parents. So kudos to your parents. And for me, I love the way you think about food. I love the way you think about service, and I love the way you think about incorporating everything. For me, this is absolutely amazing. And I, looking at the clock, I can talk to you forever. But before we pivot, I wanted to see if you want to give us not just a word of wisdom, but help me understand. Hey. What is behind the scenes for the food service industry, especially in the hotel side? What would you like to see happening, and what is happening? So help us understand that.
I think what I'd like to see happening is actually starting to happen.
Hmm.
And over here in the US, it's the combination of mindsets.
Yeah.
Um, so this past year, for the first time, two of our largest industry conferences partnered together to put on
Hmm.
a large, I don't want to call it mega conference, but where both sides come together, the food
Hmm.
industry side and the hotel side.
Hmm.
So I think, it's starting to happen where those two industries, instead of always fighting against each other like it has been for the longest time, that they're starting to realize we need to start, pairing together and teaming up.
Yeah.
Um, it's starting to happen. It's not going to be an overnight process, but I would say, at least in the U.S. market, we're starting to see it. And if I were to say between the next 3 to 5 years, we're gonna see a major transformation
I agree.
in how we see hotel food and beverage operating. I think hotel F&B is going to really start looking
Mhm.
more into, local sourcing and sustainability, utilizing local partnerships, and different companies that offer local unique product. I think we're going to start seeing more of that within the hotel space, where it's just been for the longest time, yeah, let's order off of US Foods or Cisco. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's we're going to start seeing the local sourcing and the local use of
Mhm.
product more and more.
I love that. I love that. So, for our listeners, which want to know more about you, so can you give us a little bit of a glimpse on how can people get a hold of you? How can they learn more about the mindset you have, and how can they interact with you?
Absolutely. The easiest way is through my LinkedIn. My name is Kenneth Scharlatt. The name will be down on the bottom here,
Yep.
with the spelling. And then that's the easiest way for people to get in touch with me. I'm also on Instagram and all that other
Mhm.
stuff, but primarily for business purposes,
Mhm.
LinkedIn is a lot. I have articles on my LinkedIn page that I write. I'm working on speaking more at conferences and things of that nature. I do a lot of industry events in the U.S., so I have my
Mhm.
calendar posted on where I'll be. So my LinkedIn is probably source number one. I do have a website under construction that should be out hopefully sometime first quarter of this year. And that'll just be my name, KennethCharlotte.com. But
Mhm.
right now it's under construction. So for LinkedIn is primarily where you can find me
Awesome.
right now.
Awesome. Okay, Chef. Before we go, we wanted to know if you wanted to play rapid fire question food service edition. And by the way, these are brand new 25 questions, so they coming hot off the press. So the way it works, I will say, "Hey, chef, give me a number between 1 and 25." I will read out loud the question, and they all answer it the same thing: yes or no, and why. So are you up
Okay,
for it? Great.
let's do it.
So give me question number one.
Let's go question 9.
9 is an oldie but goodie. Pineapple on the pizza. Yes or no, and why?
No, no. I I'm from New York. I'm a traditional guy. When it comes to pizza, I like a good New York slice. Give me some pepperoni, and I'm a happy man.
So half of our audience just turned off the thing because you said no. So everybody loves pineapple on the pizza. Hey, give me number between 1 and 25.
22.
22. Would you ever deep fry a salad just to see what happened? Yes or no, and why?
Oh, sure. Just to see what happens. Look, I mean, the big thing for me is you have to have an open mind, right?
Yep.
So be curious, see what happens.
Love that. Love that.
Um, yeah, why not?
Give me a number between 1 and 25.
Let's go numero uno.
Number one. Can bacon literally make everything taste better, even including ice cream? Yes or no, and why?
Yes, yes, and I've done that. I have had bacon with my ice cream. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
To our audience, don't listen to him. Bacon has no place on ice cream. So no, I give me a number between 1 and 25.
14.
14. Is it if it's not spicy enough to make it sweet? Is it even good? Yes or no, and why?
It's not spicy enough to make it sweet.
Is it even
Wow.
is it even good? Yes or no, and why?
I think everybody's palate is so different that is so hard to answer. Um, me personally, I love spicy food. I can't
Yeah.
eat it much anymore,
Yeah.
but man, you have some people that have no tolerance to spicy at all. So I
That's
think it
me.
just depends on everybody's talent.
Okay, I love that. Okay, last question between 1 and 25.
I did number one. Let's do number 25.
25. Should you start offering breakup meals on the menu designed to make you cry and then laugh, or do both at the same time? Yes or no, and why?
Man, you really are trying to get half this audience canceled here with me. Uh, breakup meals. You know, the funny thing is I used to. It's on top of restaurants and bars. I used to do nightclubs as well, and we used to have some breakup events and bachelor and wedding events and all this other stuff there. Um, yeah, I mean, look, it's all part of the going back. It's all part of the experiential dining, right? So people want an experience. It's up to us to give them an experience.
And to our listeners, what he said, hell no, we're not doing this. So with that, I want to say thanks for playing rapid fire question food service edition. So, Chef, I really appreciate it. So, for our audience, give us the final word of wisdom. What did you forget to tell us about? What would you tell somebody who comes to you and say, hey, Chef, this is something really I want to do in this industry?
Be bold. Don't be afraid to take a risk. Every opportunity and everything that you experience is a way to add something to your toolbox. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, then you put it in your toolbox and you learn what not to do the next time, and you learn from this situation. So don't be afraid to take a risk.
That was awesome, Chef. I really appreciate the gift of your time. And I really appreciate you. I know we had some difficulties in the beginning to connect. You stuck it out. I love this conversation. We need to do a 2.0. And
Absolutely.
I would like to know a little bit more on who you are and how you manage this thing and how you really have this conversation with restaurateurs and saying, hey, your restaurant sucks. You need to do something else. So I absolutely love that. Thanks for the gift of your time. Thanks for giving so generously. And the stuff was absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that. So with that, I want to say thanks for being here today and thanks for sharing your expertise and your insights with our audience. So with that, thank you. And to our audience, if you haven't done so, please check us out on social media. We have all of the different channels out there, so you can give us some questions or some answers you want to hear from our next guest. And also, as always, leave some comments below. See what you think of Chef Kenneth and see if he is absolutely right in doing what he wants to do with the restaurant kitchen. I think it's really amazing what you have. So with that, until next time, remember to fire up your career. Stay hungry for change. I'm Christian. I'm the host of the Disruptive Chef Entrepreneur Show. Me and Chef Kenneth, we are out of here. So with that, I want to say be the change, be the challenge, and be the chef who sets the world on fire. So with that, bon appetit, stay disruptive, everybody. Chef Kenneth, I loved having you, and I look forward to having you back. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Chef.